There can be only one podcast that may be the Prince of the Universe. Hi, folks. Matt right here, and there's no one else here. This is a solo episode. I do these. I record these. I had to put a lot of them back to back over the holiday season because Wes couldn't be here. I tried to get Bruce to come over to do this, record this twice with me now, but he can't. So I'm just recording this one for a rainy day. So if you know I'm playing this one, that means Wes and I couldn't connect. And that's what this one is. This is just I keep one in the chamber just in case we need an emergency one. So, and it happens to be about MCU stuff again. That just happens to be the case. This one is about the Sony stuff. Bruce and I have talked about all the Sony movies before. Wes and I have even talked about some of the Spider-Man ones. But it seems like outside of Spider-Man, Sony can't go anywhere. And they just announced they're done with the Villains universe, which was a flop from the very beginning. I mean, Morbius was abysmal, just as bad as all the jokes said. In fact, my favorite Morbius joke was, hey guys, someone broke into my truck and left the Morbius DVD. That was great. Morbius was just completely horrendous. What was fun was that, Vulture was in it at the end, and you thought he was going to create a new Sinister Six. And I think that was the idea. Now, Michael, there is no... there was a stinger at the end of Venom. There wasn't one at the end of Kraven. But by then, before even Kraven came out, they said they're done with it because they knew Kraven was going to bomb, and rightfully so. Who asked for that movie in the first place? But today I want to look at just these two movies, what Sony needs to do in a quote-unquote reboot to get things on the right track, and what they did wrong to begin with. First off, Venom: The Last Stand had zero anticipation for this movie. Did not care. I didn't hate the other movies. I thought they were fine. This movie was better than I expected. That doesn't mean it was great. Just means it was better than I expected. It was an okay movie. I laughed a little bit. I thought it was a nice little ending, and now we're done. I don't think they got anything else. Obviously, Venom's done. This was their last goodbye. It even says that in the The Last Dance or whatever. I get it. Now we're all done. Venom, of course, they could bring him back in a heartbeat if they wanted to. I thought the movie was had a lot of good laughs, a lot of good moments. I like the character of Eddie. It looks like they just went. It was very funny because they crossed him over with the MCU for like one short minute, right? He's not even in Spider-Man. He's in like the after a credit scene. But that's all he did. All Venom did in Spider-Man's universe was drink at a bar and then poof, leave. And that's it, because that's how the beginning opens up. He's drinking and then he gets taken away like in the deleted scene, the after credit scene. It's the stinger at the end of this one. And then Venom says the funniest thing in the movie is like, yes, done with the multiverse. Like, the writers did not want to be any part of Spider-Man, and that was their mistake. That was the big mistake. Spider-Man and Venom need to be tied together. You can have Spider-Man and Venom meet and then have a Venom series. That's what they should have done. Because then people would have been way more interested, and I think the series could have carried itself a little bit better. But they're all about making these one-offs separated from anything else. They don't have to worry about contradicting something else. They're free. And every time they do this, every time they don't connect them, they fail every time. But yet the writers, the producers, the directors, they still want to be free from this multiverse. But when you do that, you lose your core audience every time. Now, would I suggest someone go and watch all three Venoms? Sure, if you love Venom, I think it's up your alley. But it's not everyone can be a Deadpool. Everyone wants to be a Deadpool, right? They can play around with their own continuity, can play loosey-goosey, and be okay with it. No. Deadpool's one in a million. You can't do that with anything else. Will they learn their lesson? Never. Never. Hollywood likes to punch themselves in the nuts over and over and over again. So they will not learn this lesson. However, The Last Dance is fine. Like I said, fine, enjoyable. But what should have been done with Venom is he should have crossed over, or the third movie should have introduced Spider-Man. Who? Miles Morales, Spider-Man. Making a different world, or we find out, which is even better, this is Andrew Garfield's world. This is Andrew Garfield's world of Venom takes place in Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield comes in for the last movie. Remember, it's still on Venom. It's just Spider-Man's showing up, bothering him every once in a while, and trying to stop him. So he's trying to stop Spider-Man so he can get something done. But we find out that Spider-Man the whole time happens to be Andrew Garfield. It could have been revealed at the end. Like, again, you don't have to have Spider-Man as a main villain, main supporting cast member. However, putting Andrew Garfield in it would have made this an awesome movie. That's what I thought about. Now, you can't put him in Tobey Maguire's because they've already had his own Venom, and he's obviously not a part of Tom Hammond's Spider-Man. So that would have been just wonderful. I think it would have been great. It would have been a crowd pleaser, to be sure. But remember, Hollywood thinks they know better than their audiences, which is why they continue to fail. They continue to get it wrong. But that's Venom. That's how I do Venom. Now, can you spin it off? Because I think with all the symbiotes, they had a bunch of symbiotes at the very end. I think they were supposed to spin this off into like, I can't scream, and I can't remember what the other Venom Carnage like people were. But I think at the beginning they were hoping for more spin-offs of the Venom franchise, but it's basically dead. If they ever want to bring it back, Tom Hardy wants to come back for the role in the Spider-Man universe, I'm for that, though. I'm for that. I like that character. I liked it fine. I know Bruce, this is the one movie he did see. He did not see Kraven for good reason. But this is one movie that we both thought was okay. It wasn't bad. It was enjoyable. Will I ever watch it again? No, but I don't watch any of these Marvel movies twice. Okay? Rarely do I watch a Marvel movie twice. Just besides the Deadpools, it doesn't happen. Okay? I think I'm one and done on all these Marvel movies. But, that being said, the Venom The Last Dance, okay. Next one, Kraven. Just finished it. What I expected. A little bit better than what I expected. But, here's the problem. No one asked for this movie. No one wanted a Kraven the Hunter movie. In fact, Kraven the Hunter, we don't really know anything about. The average comic book fan, they want to see Spider-Man. You should have made a Spider-Man movie, put Kraven in it, and then spun him off into his own character. If the fans were connected to him, if they liked him. Like, for instance, in previous Spider-Man movies, if the villain had not died, perhaps we would like to see more of him. Like the Penguin, the new series The Penguin, which is still excellent. One of the best shows I've ever watched in 2024. I didn't know I wanted more, but I do. Now, that was a character that wasn't forced on us. I thought it was weird they made his own TV show, but I was interested because I did like the Penguin from the movie. He was the only good thing about that movie. And now I'm super happy it was a great show. But at least they introduced him to us. They don't even introduce Kraven in a Spider-Man movie. They just give him his own movie. Was there good action? Yeah, there was. Did you get interested in Kraven? Yeah, a little bit. I did. It wasn't bad. They gave him his iconic look, like everyone gets their superhero suit at the end of a movie. That is a tired trope that they did in this one too. He gets his little jacket and his little six-pack, and he sits in the chair just like you see in the comic book. So it's the Kraven that we know from the comic book at the end. Okay. Ooh, nice fanboy moment. No stinger at the end, which I was kind of surprised, but maybe they'd just given up on the film by the end. Because they knew they were done with this multiverse, whatever they were trying to do, that failed horribly. And it's sad that a lot of people aren't going to watch Kraven. They did a new Rhino, which I thought was pretty good. And the movie was okay. I don't know if I laughed. I didn't laugh at anything. There was a few supposed to be. They grabbed for some cheap, low-hanging fruit laughter that it didn't catch me. But overall, I would never suggest this to anyone unless they really like Kraven the Hunter. Kraven the Hunter should have been introduced in a Spider-Man movie and then spun off. If people are like, oh, he's really cool, I want to see more about him. I don't know. It's like Sony did everything backwards. I know they didn't want this to fail, but it felt like they did this on purpose so it would fail. So they could just stop making these movies. I don't know. But they still have the rights to all these people. What do they do? What do you do with Kraven now? I told you what you did with Venom. What do you do with Kraven? Well, with Kraven, you got two things. You tie him up with Morbius and introduce him into the Spider-Man universe, kind of like that, in a way. Like how they did Morbius, bring the Vulture in. Vulture, Michael Keaton comes in at the end. There's no way to fix this movie, by the way, now that I think about it. I mean, with the introduction for, maybe he's Vulture says, hey, I have someone I want you to hunt, and he shows Tom Hammond's Spider-Man. And then they say, coming soon, Spider-Man 4. Then that's how they make the big announcement that this was actually a prequel to Spider-Man 4 that they would come out. Maybe you save the movie that way. And so Kraven and Vulture and Scorpion and who else did he have? Morbius and 2 other people. I'm thinking he gets the Shocker, and let me think of another person that they haven't used yet. I don't know, Chameleon? I don't really know who you would use in this. But anyway, you get a new Sinister Six going after Spider-Man. And maybe you make the movie, maybe all this works out in the end. Because now people get excited that the Sinister Six have been announced for Tom Hammond's 4th Spider-Man movie. And people go back and watch Morbius. Ugh. They watch Kraven now? I don't know. That's the best I can do with that. But there's just no interest in these characters without Spider-Man. You have to have Spider-Man. I mean, A for effort, Like, I don't think Spider-Man should be in every movie, but if you want to introduce a villain of the Spider-Man universe, you can't just bring him in. It's almost like we're force-fed. You must love this movie. It is from a comic book movie. You must watch this. I hate it. Sony will die with Spider-Man. They will never give those rights back. We'll never let them revert back to Disney. They're going to keep them forever. They just don't know what to do with the franchise. So what should they do with it? Well, it's easy. It's so easy. You already established the multiverse with Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield. Put them together again. If Tom Hammond's not ready, Tobey Maguire's not doing anything. And I like the idea, someone said it online, I love it, he can train Miles Morales. And that can be a new trilogy of movies. You can bring in the Venom, the Kraven, the Morbius, if you want to. You probably won't be able to get any of these actors. They're probably moving on from such abysmal failures. But the thing is, you can do that. You can try that. That's something you could do with it and move it from there. Make it a Tobey Maguire franchise with Miles Morales as a new one, or even a Ghost Spider, and put those characters in there. They're from the young group, the young age of people who watch those Spidey and Friends stuff. You could get a good group there if you want to do it. You own all the Spider characters. Do other Spider characters. Put Spider-Man, Peter Parker, as an older guy in the background with Tobey Maguire. Of course, I love Andrew Garfield. So I'd love to see more of him. Maybe he crosses over once with Peter Parker. I don't know. Maybe he comes in as the clone. I don't know. You start doing you start experimenting, but with the other Spider-Man stories. Like maybe you want to do the clone story, and stuff like that. You can end it, and like I said, he has tons of villains to choose from, and villains that haven't even been touched in the cinematic universe yet. So there's plenty of things they could do with it. It's just they lack the vision. They lack someone with the vision who can do it. Put it together. Put good stories together. Take your time. They already know what the winning formula was. This is the crazy thing. After making gobs of money by combining all 3 Spider-Man, they've still set on this years later and haven't done anything. Hollywood is nothing about delays. You can't tell me Tom Hammond's schedule. He may have wanted to take a break. I get that. Andrew Garfield may be busy here and there, but you can schedule something with him. And Tobey Maguire, I haven't seen him in anything lately. So why isn't he doing it? I mean, why aren't you just hitting the road, striking while the iron's hot, getting these things out there? I just don't know. I don't know the inner workings of Hollywood. I guess everything takes 10 years. Shoot, 16 years for a sequel to Gladiator. And we didn't even need the sequel. By the way, I saw it. It's not bad. They shouldn't have called it Gladiator 2. In fact, the times it was bad was when they tried to connect it to the first movie. I felt like that was just unnecessary. Just make a separate movie. Call it something different than Gladiator 2. Had some interesting battles. I kind of enjoyed it. Kind of made me want to watch Spartacus, the Starz TV show again. In fact, that's maybe next on my watch list is that one. But either way, Sony is just, what do they do now? Where do they go? I have no idea. I have no idea. Because the thing is, they have just ruined everything. And I don't even know what they were thinking with this other villain universe. They wanted to make more movies and not just rely on Spider-Man. I get that. But you've got to first introduce them into Spider-Man. And then hopefully build up some credibility with these characters and spin them before you spin them off into their little origin stories or what, separate little abilities. But I like the Sinister Six that they were supposed to, that they were going for in Morbius at the stinger there. I like the idea, even though Morbius was just abysmal, but as a movie goes. But keep with that, and then but build up saying, hey, this is all the lead up to the next Spider-Man story arc, Sinister Six. But they didn't even do that. And I'd like to know what was the big overall plan. It doesn't seem like there was one. Just make movies. What characters do we have? Make a movie out of it. What do you want it to be? I don't know. Who cares? Kraven the Hunter. I don't know who that is. He's a superhero. Then make a movie about him. I feel like no one knew. And again, Kraven the Hunter as a movie is all right. It's all right. It's definitely not the worst thing in the MCU. By far, it's not the worst thing in the MCU. Shoot, Kraven the Hunter beats a lot of things I've seen in theaters from MCU lately. So it's mainly just that no one asked for this, and there's no interest, And what were they going to do? Where were they? What were they thinking? And it is interesting that it was the first movie in my mind in a long time that didn't have a stinger at the end of it. That was weird because I waited thinking there was, and there wasn't. Either way, though, I think Sony's in trouble. They're only stuck on Spider-Man. They will be doing more and more Spider-Man movies. Like they're doing the cartoon multiverse. Does that come out this year? I don't recall. The thing is, I don't remember the last one now. I remember it was Spot was the villain. That was interesting. And I remember watching it and enjoying it. I'm not going to rewatch it, but I think it ended on a cliffhanger, didn't it? I think it did. I also think I don't care. I'll just watch the third one and just enjoy it. I'm just not going to but why take so long? Especially if you're ending on a cliffhanger. Man, I could be wrong about that, but I just don't remember. It's like the Mission Impossible movie. They split up in part 1, part 2, but part 2 is not due out till way later. And the thing is, I have almost lost complete interest for this. And I liked the last Mission Impossible movie. I actually liked it. But yeah, it's time to end it. It's time to end it. I hate these part 1, part 2s. Unless you've got them back to back coming out, I just think that's just too much time these days. Back in the day, it took 3 years for a sequel to come out. Star Wars movies, stuff like that. Back to the Future took longer than that. I get it. But now it's taking 6, 7, 8 years. Dude, these kids are grown up. They've gotten jobs. They've got kids. They got families. It's so much different. And the thing is, though, what we once liked, because there wasn't any of it coming out again, we're in a now generation, a streaming generation. We get things now at our fingertips. I don't have to wait for a weekly show to come out. I can stream. I binge watch things now. The only thing that I'll watch on a weekly basis is Survivor, and I can't stand that show now. I think it's not that good. I'm sticking around till season 50, and I'm probably cutting ties with the show. I know season 50, hopefully, will be a banger of a season. But I know that seasons 48 and 49 are going to suck. I just don't see them being any good because that last season was just terrible. But anyway, I got off point there. I digress. We're about watching things now. I only want to watch shows that have been completed. That's all I want to watch now. If a show has not been completed, I can wait till it comes out. Oh, Matt, but it's the hottest thing. Oh, you got to hear what's happened on the next newest episode, the newest season. No, I don't. No, I don't. And if you tell me, I'll probably forget. Beauty of being old. And then maybe later on I can pick it up. After I've binge watching all my shows. I'm serious. I think Spartacus, I may watch it for another 3rd, 4th, 5th time. Who knows? And then I'll watch other shows I haven't seen in a while. I still need to watch Game of Thrones. I need to motivate myself to watch. I don't know why I'm so unmotivated to watch Game of Thrones. I'm so unmotivated. I guess we're switching off Sony now and going into my streaming habits here. But I'm all about... Anyway, that's my thoughts on Sony. Wrapping up. Let me know in the comments below about Sony. But for streaming, now generation. And these movies, these sequels that come out years later, who cares now? It's been forever since Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 3 came out. It was more than a 6-year gap that Lucas had A New Hope and Return of the Jedi on. And I understand there's contracts, there's scheduling contracts, things like that, writers' strikes, pandemics. Yeah, there's always an excuse for why things go off the rails. But the thing is, though, how do they expect to keep our interest? How? I've got so many other things. When I used to like this, like I was so excited. A lot of times when I watch a sequel, I'm thinking, wow, think of how much this would have made if it had come out on time. You know, back in the day, Freddy versus Jason, perfect example. Freddy versus Jason, you'd have brought that out like just a few years, just 3 years after the last, what was it? Jason Goes to Hell or whatever, Jason X or whatever. And 3 years after that, you bring out Freddy versus Jason. Oh, it makes monster bucks. You got to strike while the iron's hot, while people are still talking about it. By the time it came out, it's like, oh, there it is. Okay, we'll watch it. All right, there we go. Fun stuff. You know, moving on. Everyone's forgotten about that movie now. It won't be considered, I think, a classic anymore. But the thing is, though, why wait so long? It's not like those actors had other things going on. It's just the studio just delayed. And I don't know what is. I just don't understand how the workings of that works. I think Iron's Heart, make more as fast as you fast track it. You got to keep their attention, and then you fast track it with potential spinoffs included, so that you can keep going. You know, I don't know. I just don't get that. So it's just the nature of the beast. But there is not one new TV show that's been. Oh, that's a lie. That's a lie. Dexter, I am watching because my wife really. I would be happy. We're watching Dexter Original Sin as of this recording, and probably by the time this comes out, the other Dexter show will be out. We're probably going to watch that episodically. I am fine with waiting. I am fine with waiting for the series to be completed, but my wife is a huge Dexter fan. I am too. But these days, I can wait. I can wait, 6, 8 weeks, 10 weeks? I can wait now because I have other stuff I can watch. And watching it week to week to week, waiting every week for the new episode to drop, I don't have to watch that anymore. I don't have to live like that anymore. So many other TV shows I've never seen that I would probably be more interested in, or shows I want to rewatch. I will rewatch all of Stargate sometime. I will rewatch all of Buffy and Angel one of these days. I really rewatch some of my favorite shows. Even I Love Lucy. I watch every year, except for, maybe this year? No, last year was the last time I did this. I watched a classic TV show, I Love Lucy. Then I went to Dick Van Dyke. Then, I did watch the Andy Griffith Show this year, I think. So I did watch Andy Griffith all the way through this year. I think that was this year, because last year it was the Waltons. Dude, there's another one I've seen too. I'm watching these old classic shows. You know, old classic shows, old classic TV from TV Land. I've been watching those, and they've been fun. It's been fun watching the Nick at Night stuff. My buddy has a bunch of old cartoons. I kind of want to watch an old cartoon series, but at the same time, I know they don't hold up. Now, some of the Disney ones, the DuckTales, that held up strongly. Tailspin held up, but Darkwing Duck was abysmal. And I used to love Darkwing Duck, but that kind of ruined Darkwing Duck for me because the show that I loved the most didn't pan out as well. Neither did Rescue Rangers. Rescue Rangers was kind of a flop too. But I do kind of want to watch more of those old cartoons. However, I'd rather watch them with my boy. Now, with my boy, I am watching the 1966 Batman. We're watching a few, like an episode every couple of nights or whatever. That's been super fun. My girls are so-and-so. They keep asking when Batgirl's going to come in. That'll be towards season 3. But for right now, he and I are watching Batman 1966, and we're loving it. We're having a great time. He loves Batman. He loves when Batman fights. He calls out the bad guy. So that's our show, man. We sit down, we watch a couple of minutes of it before bed, or when we have some spare time on the weekends or whatnot. We've had a fun time going through those. I'm so happy to watch those again with him. That's the one show I'm watching through with my son right now. And right now he's enjoying them like I did as a kid. Punch, bang, bow. And I love watching Batman and Robin fight. I love, man, that show. It was in the 80s. Late 80s, early 90s when I discovered it, I want to say. And I had no idea it was a 60s show. And I thought it was the best thing. I knew it was an older show, but I thought it was the best thing in the world. I thought that show was the best thing in the world. And then when I watched it again, years later, I was like, oh, it is good, but for a different reason. And now that I'm watching it now, I still love it. I still love that show. It's just so much fun. And that's the thing. It's fun. But I'd rather watch these older shows, even Nick at Night shows, than watch the new episodic whatever hotness is coming out, because I can wait on you. There's a lot of other stuff. There's a list of stuff that goes on and off my list all the time of stuff that's like, oh, maybe I should watch Scrubs. But then I'm like, I just don't want to watch it. Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, and then plus TV is really hard for me to watch too. It can take me, if an episode is like 40 minutes long or something, it's going to take me 2 sittings because I have to eat it around, I'll watch shows around lunch when I'm eating or when I'm cooking. I'll watch the show. I have to be doing something else. It's hard for me to sit down and watch something. A movie has to be very engaging, or a TV show excellent like The Penguin for me to sit down and watch all the way through. But same thing, I can't do an audiobook. I cannot do audiobooks. One, I'd rather read. It's funny, I feel like I'm wasting my time sitting there watching a movie when I could do other stuff. But when I'm reading, that's all I want to do. I don't know, maybe that's a personal preference there. But either way though, when I am watching my TV shows, I never think of the latest, greatest, hottest thing that everyone's telling me about. Oh, I'm missing out. Oh, I need to catch up on this. No, there's some shows. There's a show coming out right now, From, I think is the name of it. It looks very interesting. I really want to see this. It hasn't ended yet. It's on season 3, maybe going to season 4. Maybe it'll end after that. And then after it's done, I'll watch it all. I have no desire to watch it until it's all done. If it doesn't finish, meaning it doesn't get picked up for last season, doesn't conclude, then I save myself the trouble. Because I can watch other things. I can rewatch other things. Like seriously, a rewatch of Spartacus is super high on my list rather than watching Game of Thrones, which I'm sure is good. I'm sure it's great. But for some reason, I lack the motivation. Even though everyone says, oh, the last season sucked. Or the last episode was really terrible, but the rest of the show was great. Ugh. Is it worth it in that case? I don't know. I know on my short list of stuff, though, I've watched just about everything else I wanted to. And then my nephew suggested a few things, like All of Us Are Dead, a Korean zombie flick, that TV show. I thought it was okay. Wasn't the best. He thought it was the best. It wasn't the best. It was okay, though. It moved very slow at times for me. And then the other one I watched that he had me watch was Smiling Friends, a little cartoon series, 11 minutes long an episode. Are you kidding me? That's right up my alley. I watched several because they were 11 minutes long, short, and I felt like I achieved a lot. Plus, I felt it was funny. It's my type of quirky humor, too. So all wins across the categories. I will watch. Unfortunately, that is an ongoing series, so I will have to watch it. But it's only 11 minutes long, so yeah, worth it. Definitely with Smiling Friends. Check it out. And the thing is, I'm not opposed to watching these shows and whatnot. It's just getting motivated enough to do it. I am at my heart, I am a book reader, and I've been rereading books and just read another Firefly novel. If you haven't read the Firefly novels, the newest one, Aim to Misbehave, really good. Short review here of it, but really good. The books, for the most part, there's 2 books. Tim Levin, who did Dawn of the Jedi, it's still terrible. And then there's one, The Ghost Machine, was not that good. It was kind of repetitive, and I felt like it wasn't that good. But other than that, the books total have been very excellent. They feel just like episodes, and they're well written. The comic books, on the other hand, I will not buy. I thought about picking up all the trades again and trying to push my way through it, but then I thought, you know what? I just didn't enjoy them. And I just read some others at a comic book store in town, and I was not. I didn't feel like the characters. I just wasn't pulled in. The comic books aren't winning me over. But anyway, with Firefly, that's it for Firefly. There are no more Walking Dead books. There are no more Highlander novels I've read. I've read all that. There's only one Dukes of Hazzard book, and that's too bad because that was excellent. But I would be interested in reading stories from TV shows. That's the thing. Maybe I need to find out what other TV shows that I loved had novelizations. There weren't that many of them. Sons of Anarchy had one. One day I will watch Sons of Anarchy again, I'm sure, but I might not reread the book. I don't know. It just depends. But either way, though, that's it. Let me know in the comments, though. TV shows. Do you binge watch or do you watch weekly? Are you watching weekly? It's okay. Like I said, I even admitted to watching a few shows weekly, but more likely, I'm more likely to watch something that's been completed than start on a new show. But maybe that's just me. And of course, if you have suggestions on TV shows I should watch that are completed, let me know in the comments below, and I will definitely check them out. All right, so that's it for this solo episode I will not be doing any more. Hopefully, in the meantime, I just wanted to have one in the chamber just in case, because I just used all of mine over the holiday season. So I wanted to have one more like this. And I'm sure Bruce or Wes will definitely come back on the next one. See you later on Princes of the Universe.